Good afternoon. My name is Andres, and this is my final presentation for Education 547 at Azusa Pacific University. My unit plan is on the subject of math. It is a single subject for middle school, sixth grade. The standards are from Common Core. An example is students understand racial concepts, use ratio to reasoning to solve problems, um, as well as some English standards where they'll use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing, as well as to interact and collaborate with others to demonstrate sufficient command and keyboard. And this will make a lot more sense once I get to the technological activities that my students will be doing, as well as some technology standards where students will use technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. These are just a couple of examples of the standards that I'll be using in my class. So my unit is on fractions and its many applications, which are ratios, rates, percentages, and unit conversions. So some technology activities that I'll be using in my unit is YouTube is very big. I like to tell my students that if they think that the way I explain things or the way I introduce the concepts, if they don't have a hard time understanding, they are more than welcome to go onto YouTube, where they have many of explanation of videos where they'll be able to hopefully find one that works for them, as well as one of the majority of why I don't want to use YouTube is for the many videos that they show for many musical intelligence in the classroom, where I always believe that catchy rhythm, catchy music is always helpful towards understanding the concepts. And I would be using Kahoot and math games as form of assessments to check for their understanding, to see where they're at, to see if more practice is needed. I highly advise to use form of assessments throughout my unit, because I before going to another lesson, like if I'm going from ratios to rates, I want to make sure that they have a good foundation on rates before going on to a different lesson. I will also be using Google Classroom as a mainstay for all activities the students will be doing. So, for example, they'll be able to do using it for blogs and share critique and share feedback with projects that they'll be doing. Yes, even though this is a math class, I do want students to do these short informative projects, so I'll be using explain everything. It's a very great uh, tool for teachers to use as a presentation. So aside from PowerPoint, so for projects, I want students. So for example, for percentages, I want students to be able to go into detail. Like, it's not enough for them to just be able to convert decimal or fractions to percentages. I want them to research and tell me what it is, the importance of percentages, and where we see it in real life. So this will give them a chance for them to do research and figure out that percentages isn't just being knowing how to convert it, but also its applications on how it's used in the real world. And then one final activity that I want students to really love is the QR codes, where I was planning to use it on conversions, where students will be given a map of different QR code locations and a key. So the key will be used, so when they get an equation, they will solve it, and then when they get the answer, they'll look back into their key and find their answer and the location of the QR code, which will then give them another equation, and which they will solve and go on to another QR code. So I think that's a very great scavenger hunt that the students will be use. So it's definitely hits the aspects of of kinesthetic learners. So my unit plan highly delves into Bloom's taxonomy, where I don't want students just to memorize some formula, memorize just some concept. I want them to have full understanding of what they're learning and what they're doing. I want them to apply that to real life scenarios, which they'll be given as well, and also analyze equations and be able to determine it's not equation just it's not just 1 + 2 = 3. It's like what am I missing? What do I need in order to solve this problem, or be able to break the problem down to see what's the question's asking for. And my unit definitely delves a lot into interpersonal and all the different multiple intelligence. So, for example, kinesthetic learners, they'll be doing scavenger hunts. Interpersonal, so like they'll be doing online review board game where they'll get in groups and they'll try to compete with one another to get first place, as well as naturalistic, so they can determine what important information they'll need, as well as mathematical, which is pretty obvious since it is the unit is based on math, as well as musical. So, as going back to musical, is the fact that they will be able to hear uh, different music videos for them, so they'll be able to better understand it. Maybe be able to memorize it, so they can use it for a test or a quiz. And definitely verbal students will talk and do presentations as well, so when they do their presentations they'll actually verbalize it in the classroom. So how's technology used to enhance the lifting learning to a whole new level? I think technology is definitely a tool that's used to better enhance students uh, learning, as well as for them to be engaged, more attentive, and it's not just a teacher going up on a whiteboard and just lecturing all day. Technology is used for them to be able to like get a better understanding of the concepts. So what I've learned throughout this course is that, technology is a tool. It's not a replacement for a teacher. And I know many teachers are kind of afraid of technology because of its vast, because of the difficulty, or because of the different environments not the same. It's like, it's a different era from before. I mean, I know when I was in middle school or elementary school, there wasn't very that much technology. It was mostly just a teacher up on the whiteboard and them lecturing. But now it's completely different, and I believe we should embrace it. I'm very embrace of of using technology in the classroom. Thank you, and thank you for your time, and hope you enjoyed the video.